Right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are. You're watching cricket.com Vodcast episode 8, and this one's going to be obviously India centric, like it always is. And we have the familiar foes, or should we say friends, with regards to cricket.com, the in house experts in Somesh Agarwal, Gurkirat, and of course Anirudh, who's making his presence felt for back to back shows. We'll start with this whole Indian chat about the West Indies series, guys, where we picked it up from last time pretty much. We wanted to see certain things being ticked off. We'll start with Som. What's impressed you the most in this late night viewing?
Uh, I mean, it has been pretty much similar since the Dravid era has begun, right? It's
Yeah.
just going after the ball from ball one, even if the big wickets are falling, the approach hasn't changed. I think the one question that is on everyone's mind is why the hell is Surya opening? And everyone
Yeah.
is just eagerly awaiting for someone to ask that question and someone actually responding it with some weightage rather than just talking about we want to put people out of place. Because for me, Surya is the only one who can bat like anywhere, and opening is the easiest spot. So waste a spot? Uh, why waste the easiest spot on the most talented batter?
Yeah, because look, at the end of the day, you're the biggest Surya fan here, at least in the four of us. Was it a shock moment for you when you saw that first T20 international, let alone the last two?
It was actually. So I mean, see, he started as an opener. I mean, actually, when his peak began, it was as an opener. So that is pretty much natural to him. The only thought that I have is they want to try keeping Rishabh Pant in the middle order because that's where they feel he'll add more value, and they don't want to bat Shreyas Iyer out of place. That's the only reason why I feel they feel that Surya is logged anyway, so let's just have him up at the order. Maybe even if he is potentially going to play at three in the major tournaments, it's just a prep. I mean, he might be just a ball away, a Shaheen Afridi or a Mitchell Stark ball away from being out as an opener himself. So just prepping him up for it, maybe.
Yeah, just I guess the key is more time out there in the middle. That's what all these cricketing cliches go by, at least anyway. Gurkida, do you agree with Som there in terms of this move and how do you kind of view it all?
See, I remember when we were doing the last episode of the podcast, I had said that this tour could essentially be a contest between Deepak Hooda and Shreyas Iyer. Now,
Yeah.
Iyer has done his part in ODIs as he's been doing, and he rightfully deserves to be in the 11 whenever someone's missing at number three, or even if say any other players missing out. But I think in T20s, with what has happened, I will not be surprised if after these two games, if Shreyas even gets these two games, because Jadeja was rested. Now we don't know whether he was rested because he's had so many injury issues in the last 1.5 year, or was he rested because India want to explore how Hooda can do in Jadeja's position. But I do feel that somewhere now Iyer's spot, not only in the 11, but I think in the squad is also on the line. So and they like Sumesh said, they rightfully don't want to tinker with Shreyas Iyer's spot. So they are trying between Pant and Surya Kumar Yadav. The only tactical thing that I can see behind here is that because West Indies have Akil Hussain, who's a left arm spinner, they wanted to keep Pant in the middle order, and they wanted Sky opening. But in England, because they have a right arm spinner and they thought that Moeen Ali is well managed, they wanted to promote him. So I'm not coming up with the top of my head, but I think essentially, what this tells me is that the team management feels that both Pant and Surya will be a part of the 11. So they're just trying to see who can fit in where, as long as they don't have players available. But they are going to be in a spot when it comes to deciding who's going to be their top seven if KL Rahul is fit and they decide to take Kohli to Australia.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, look, it's a happy headache for the Indian selectors to have because it's a plethora of choices and they're spoiled for choice too early. Let's get Anirudh. So much shaky his head over there. Anirudh, just to pick up from Gurkirat's points over there, Surya and Pant being certain starters in Australia, do you see it the same way? And let's define roles for them in terms of batting order. Where would you eventually see them bat in the grander scheme of things?
Well, I think Surya was promoted to opening so that they could give Pant an extended run in the middle order. I think that's what I felt because they feel that Pant needs to be in the mix in the middle order come the World Cup. I think that's why they promoted Surya because I think Surya is pretty much a lock. I think Surya is undroppable. I don't think Surya is going anywhere. So I think that's why basically they kind of opened with Surya and to give Pant an extended run in the middle order. But that also is a bit contradicting because if that's the case, why open with Pant against England? Like
Yeah.
it's I kind of can't grasp what the management is exactly doing. It's they're giving a lot of I mean there has been a lot of experimentation, but you can't make sense of every move they've been doing. Like for instance, I don't agree with the move to rest Jadeja after 2 matches, and Jadeja has barely played any T20 cricket in the last 1 year. He has had a very poor IPL, and he did not really do well with the bat in the first 2 matches. I mean, he fared all right, but it's not like okay, now we've seen enough of you, we're resting. He didn't show that kind of form. So it's very difficult to understand what the management are doing. And yesterday Deepak Huda was in the 11. Deepak Huda opened against Ireland. You could have opened with Deepak Huda and sent Sky back to the middle order, but they still opened with Sky even when Deepak Huda was in the 11. So yeah, I mean, I guess we have to just judge them by the results. If the World Cup comes to India, Dravid is a genius. If not, then they've made a mess of it. I think that's how we. There's no way to judge what they're doing right now. Let's give them time, I guess.
Yeah, ultimately, time will tell, like it always does. Now, before we move on to the Asia Cup fixtures reactions, guys, just a quick one on terms of Team India solving all their problems, right? We talk about captains being kind of thrown around right now in Wiper cricket, but even the opening slots right now, where does someone like Ishan Kishan fit into all of this? So, is he just going to be waiting in the wings in terms of Rahul now? Of course, not there. They're trying everyone else, but someone like him, where does he kind of take his chance?
uh, it's very difficult. So as soon as KL Rahul is fit, he walks into the 11, even if it's the big game against Pakistan, and pretty much would be opening. I think with Kishan, I mean they've seen him. They know what he can offer. Maybe they're still not sure about uh, how he can perform under pressure and those sort of things, because he's pretty much been a basher. He's not someone, I mean, when the tide is against him, he's not found ways to tackle it. So that's
Yeah.
probably what has gone against him.
Yeah, okay. Let's see if they kind of give him a chance. Who knows? Miami might just see more fresh faces thrown in the mix. Kuldeep's also, I think, warming the benches right there. Asia Cup, is it going to be a scene where we play Pakistan thrice in 3 weeks, back to back to back to back Sundays? The BCCI have got their wish. I look at it in a simple way. It's basically an India Pakistan bilateral series, guys, but they're dubbing it as Asia Cup. They've shoehorned it in somehow. 28th August, mark your calendars. September 4th, mark your calendars. And then September 11th. Gurkirat, coming to you because you were absolutely tearing your head out in terms of the Asia Cup Super 4 and the format. What's made you most livid, in the words of Ravi Shastri?
See, you could have done two things. One is you could have, had all the teams who are playing the qualifier, right? You could have had 8 teams and you could have had two groups of four. So that would have ensured that, from there on, the Super Four still makes a little bit of sense. And
Yeah,
in that way, what you are also ensuring is that these smaller countries, they are getting to play. But what you've done pretty much now is you've just, taken the piss by calling it an Asia Cup by bringing in Afghanistan and whosoever is going to be the qualifier, playing 2 games with them, and then continuing with their own thing. What happened, I think, last time was Sri Lanka got eliminated, and this time I won't be surprised if Bangladesh get eliminated and Afghanistan come through. No, Afghanistan's in India's group. Sorry, so Bangladesh are certain. But if Bangladesh and Afghanistan were in the similar group, there was a possibility that Bangladesh could have been out because Bangladesh not been doing well in T20 international. So I know, India Pakistan matches bring in money, they bring in a lot of sponsors and everything, but sometimes you also have to look at what is the greater good of the game. You can't be restricting games to the smaller countries by one way or the other. We have already finished off the Super League. The World Cup's been reduced to 10 teams. So you are doing essentially at every level, in every term, in at every level of cricket administration, is that you are making cricket as competitive right? And I don't think that should be the way to go forward if you are looking to make the game a global sport. I don't think you can do it this way.
Yeah, try telling that to the BCCI and all the office bearers listening to this podcast right now. So, do you think it's an absolute joke, the fact that they've shoehorned in this tournament the way it is? Do you think it's perfect preparation for the World Cup, which looms large?
I mean, not really. I feel. I mean, I don't have much feedback on how it has been designed. Now I'm pretty okay with it because it tends to fall both ways, right? Sometimes the game against the small nations tend to be pretty one-sided, and that's when you get comments like the quality of the tournament and not having enough eyeballs. This way, at least the Super Four onwards, the tournament really will kick in and probably will there will be some buzz. But yeah, I agree. They could have found out some way of not having qualifiers at all and having all the teams in the mix and still have enough India Pakistan games.
Anirudh, you echo those thoughts because we were laughing about in office the fact that maybe this is all an evil ploy from the BCCI to gain revenge over Pakistan and that defeat that we suffered to them in Dubai, funnily enough. And now we'll have three bites of the cherry. Do you think that's the thinking, or do you think we're being really stupid in our heads?
Well, I'm just surprised that they didn't take a leaf out of the common this thing, the CB series book, and make it a best of three finals. Like, why not do that as well? So that we'll have six India Pakistan matches in one Asia Cup.
Yeah,
But
so anyway, England and Pakistan playing 7 T20s in a
Yeah.
series. So best of three finalists, I mean, more the merrier.
Yeah,
But
and with India
one
Pakistan,
thing
I don't think
one
people
thing
have
I'd like to
go.
say, I don't think it's the ideal preparation for a World T20 in Australia, because conditions are vastly different, and you know you'd still expect. I'm not saying that India will not lose a T20 game to Sri Lanka or a Pakistan, but you'd still expect over a series of T20 games for India to be a better side and not be as challenged as what they would have been, say, when they were playing a South Africa or maybe even Australia or I don't know, maybe England, India have historically tend to do well. The last four T20 bilateral series, I think India have won, but I don't think it's an ideal preparation anyway.
Okay. I mean, let's see how it really trickles up because at the end of the day, I was just speaking to Archie that, by the way, this is a perfect time to plug in that second episode. So, guys, if you're watching this, it's going to be coming at 6:30. Archie, that all about the first three T20s. And I asked him in that whether India will start playing their more best 11 before the World Cup, right, Anirudh? And he said no, not at all. And they will only kind of play their best 11 on the day of the World Cup. Now, I know we have Australia and South Africa in September or something like that for a couple of T20s before the World Cup. But in the Asia Cup, surely Virat Kohli walks back in. Surely Rahul, of course, if he's fit, walks back in. We're going to be pretty much seeing the best 11, Anirudh, in terms of our T20, or do you think, again, there'll be a lot of experimentations, chopping and changing?
I don't think they can delay it further. I don't think they can delay playing the best 11 further. I mean, they've stretched it out as much as possible. Even in this match against West Indies, they're playing Avesh. They're making Avesh bowl of the dead. They've rested a few players. They're not playing Chehel and all. So I mean, I think once Asia Cup comes, because Asia Cup is where you'll get tested against real quality opposition. Like Pakistan. Pakistan will be fired up to play India. Likewise, India will be fired up to play Pakistan. Sri Lanka are a pretty decent team. I'm not saying they are world beaters, but they can cause an upset when everything goes their way. Afghanistan are a pretty good T20 side as well. So it's and you need some kind of coherence within the team so that the players get used to their roles when you are actually playing a full strength 11. You need to know what your role is. You need to know who your best players are, what's their best position, and all that stuff. So at least if India could play 5 to 6 matches before the World Cup, first team full strength, it will aid them. But again, T20 is a weird format. We saw that Australia never fielded their full strength 11 together before the World Cup. They just showed up on one. But again, India have had their fair share of bad experiences with World Cups and ICC tournaments. So it's advisable that India play as much as possible with their first 11 and walk into that World Cup knowing exactly what their best 11 is, who their best players are, and what needs to be done. So I think Asia Cup has to be played with the full strength side.
Yeah, I agree. And I think even with Gurkirat's point saying it's not the perfect preparation for the World Cup, but it's some sort of litmus test. We'll leave that chat there. Let's just wrap up this podcast by focusing on England. First and foremost, about their white ball woes before we talk about the 100, which starts today. And it's going to be, I think, the 3rd of August to September 3rd. So 1 month of absolute mayhem from the UK. English white ball woes, guys. So you've been harping upon it in various CDC in her house meetings. I know the whole cry has been, oh yeah, we're waiting for Mark Wood, we're waiting for Jofra Archer, and all of that. But right now, they're looking really thin in terms of T20 bowling options, and they're more one type in terms of all the left armers. Talk to me about their woes.
The left armers is just something that they're trying. No, whoever is bowling left arm pace in the county circuit, they're just giving them a run for England. But yeah, bowling has been their problem for a while now. Just this summer, their batting didn't click. Roy had a horrible summer. Butler was not the Butler we know, so that's where they got issues. I'm still not convinced how they use Moeen. They don't use Moeen well as a batter, so that is one more thing. But it's, I mean, the bowling goes run deep, and the biggest issue with England bowling setup is the bowlers that they are waiting for to be fit are all format bowlers. So when Jofra is fit, they want him to play everything. When Mark Wood is fit, they want him to play everything. When Chris Wokes is fit, they want him to play everything. So I mean, that is not how pretty much the teams that are winning all formats are managing their bowlers. So England really need to solve that out. Batting, they can still do a baseball and solve a lot of things, but bowling needs a proper plan.
Do you think it's a blessing in disguise then, in the sense that because Archer is out, Wood is out, Wokes is out, they found people like Topley, they found people like Richard Gleeson who's taken their chance, Gurkirat, or is that just increasing their headaches more?
See, I think it's too early to come up with any conclusion on someone like Gleason.
I think
Topley,
Gurkirat's
from what I've
frozen.
seen, he does well in the power play, but outside of the
He's
power
in
play, he
some hotel that
struggles.
he's been. We'll get back to Gurkirat. Anirudh, similar question to you.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. I mean, it's concerning for sure when a side has been dominant for this long and it suddenly starts not winning matches at all. Like Butler has not won a single series till now as a full time captain. It's concerning, and I don't know. Just the batting has gone to sleep. I think that's all you can say because Roy has been really struggling, and I wonder if he will be dropped before the Pakistan series. That's a big decision they have to make because he's. It's not. We know that Roy can bounce back, but uh, he's so out of form right now that he's not even managing to score run a ball, and he's facing 15 plus balls every innings. And they have like Livingston. He's a hit or miss player, so it's been like that. Malan has kind of stopped scoring consistently like he used to. He's not holding the innings together anymore. And Sam Curran is another player who simply has not done anything at the international level so far in T20 Is. Like we've seen him fare so well for CSK in IPL, but when it comes to England, Sam Curran feels like a bits and pieces player who is not contributing with bat or ball. So it's a lot of problems to solve. I mean, it's looking highly unlikely that England will win the World Cup, but I'll touch upon the same point which I said in the for the previous question you asked. Australia were in a similar position last year and they ended up winning the World Cup. So T20 is such a format that you won't be surprised if Roy scores a century in the first match of the World Cup and suddenly England just go on to win the World Cup. So let's give it time. It's a transition
Yeah.
from Matthew
Uh,
from coach to coach. So yes.
Everyone seems to be following the Australia model of success, it seems.
One thing that I feel goes in England's favor in terms of World T20 is they seem to be in the weaker group. They have Australia and New Zealand. So New Zealand's not been great in Australia in any format. So that
I like how you say weaker group when you mention the World Cup finalists there, Gurkirat.
Yeah.
no, but it is that way because New Zealand have not really been in a good enough form or have had good enough performances on Australia. Their bowling attack has usually struggled regardless of the format. Also, another thing that we are looking at with regards to England's bowling is that someone like Wokes again is likely to struggle in Australia because his bowling is not suitable for conditions where the ball swings a little bit. We've seen how Woke struggles even in test matches outside of England, because once the ball doesn't swing, he becomes ineffective. So and Jofra, again, Jofra does. I don't think even if he gets fit, he will be the same potent bowler that he was in early 2021. Mark Wood, is when he was fit, because he was available in the last T20 World Cup for England. There were days he was very good, and then there have been days where he's very bad. So England still wouldn't have a bowler who they can say is their go-to bowler. Jordan, we know how he's been in the last 2 years. He'll have one good game, then he'll have two horrible games. So they're only the only link of their bowling attack which seems to be in some sort of semblance or in some sort of a control is someone like Adil Rashid, who has a good record in the BBL when he's played in Australia. And if he gives them wickets in the middle overs, like what Adam Zampa did for Australia in the last World T20, then things could change for them. But it remains to be seen, like how would he fare in the World T20, come this October, November.
Yeah, I think a lot of fans who are spinners, of course, will say, "Oh yeah, look at Australia and the big boundary spinners will surely come into it." And then England will say, "We have Rashid, like you mentioned there, Gurkirat. They have Moeen Ali. They have Livingston, who can bowl off spin and leg spin, or straighter ones. So they have a lot of options." And just to finish this England chat, it makes you think about how they should really be ripping apart teams left, right, and centre. I know there's no Stokes right now, but once he comes back into it, or Archer, or Wood for that matter, they have one hell of a team. So let us know in the comments below if you guys think England can really contend. Remember, 2016 they lost in the final to Carlos Brathwaite. 2019 it was, I think, New Zealand who knocked them out in the semi-final. So they'll certainly be there in with a shout, even though it's down under. Last 4 minutes left of this podcast. Want to touch about the 100. How excited are you guys in terms of this competition? I know Somesh and Gurkirat might not be watching it because of the late night viewing yet again. But Anirudh, Suresh, tell me about this and what's the most important things we need to know?
I think it'll be fun because this time around there are a lot more star players as such compared to last year. This year we have like even Maxwell and Hasaranga, Andre Russell. We have plenty of Decock. Decock played last year as well, but we have a lot of big names, and we also have players like Tim David who have significantly got better since the last season. So it'll be fun for sure. I mean, the good thing is it won't drag on like the IPL for 4 hours. Even though it starts later, like 11:30, it'll be done in like 1.5 hours. So that's a good thing. But it will be key for certain English players. I feel first of all, players like Roy. I think Roy will be under pressure to deliver because what's interesting is that for Manchester originals, Josh Butler and Phil Salt are opening together, which is Roy's potential successor in white ball cricket. So if Roy has a very okayish 100 and Phil Salt kills it, and I think England do not have to think they can just open with Phil Salt and Butler in the games to come because he is Roy's natural heir in terms of everything, the style of play and all.
Yeah.
So that's definitely that to be seen. And I think the one thing that will be a bit of a downer is that not all players will play the whole season. I think the Australians will leave for the Zimbabwe ODIs and the other white ball games after 3 or 4 matches. So the likes of Maxwell, Zampa, and all these guys will be gone, I think, after 3 or 4 matches. And Basto's not playing, obviously, the first. I think he's not playing the tournament at all because he's pulled out to rest for the test summer. Stokes has also pulled out, so no Archer. So there are certain notable absentees from this tournament, but I think if you just treat it as entertainment, it'll be definitely fun. I hope it's doesn't add to the overkill that's been going on, but it should be a refreshing change. I feel in terms of the format and just how it's seen as more entertainment than cricket. So I think it should be a fun watch.
Yeah, I mean, lots of people from India, I think, watch the NatWest T20 Blast, but last time I think the 100 was taken well by a lot of global audiences. So let's see if that trend continues. Gurki, just to finish on this 100, because I think there's some good games, I think, this week. It starts off with Southern Brave, who are the defending champions against Welsh Fire, and that's something you guys can catch. All the coverage off on cricket.com will be, of course, covering certain bits here and there, and then you can check out the remaining squads on our Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that. Gurkirat, what's the one thing which hits you the most once we talk about the 100? I know you were just doing your last minute research, but the main pointers, my friend?
The one thing that I definitely look forward to is to how the Indian women do in the women's 100 competition, because they usually like there is still no women's IPL, so these leagues are a good way for them to train, gain experience, and keep working on their skills as short format batters. So I want to see how someone like a Smriti Mandana does. Apart from this, from the men's competition point of view, Tim David had a very good competition last time. He's had a very good NatWest T20 blast. I want to see if he again does well in the 100 competition. Do Australia finally draft him in their squad? And do they start seriously considering him as a part of their 11 for the World T20? Because if they do that, then they become a lot more stronger than what they would be without him. So these are the two things that I would mainly look at. And then if I get time to catch a lot more than what I did last time, then hopefully I'll be able to pick a little more in terms of who could be the upcoming talent from England from their domestic circuit, because last time there were a lot of names that were floating around, couldn't catch a lot about them.
Yeah, I mean, one of them was Harry Brooks, so it's just maybe a perfect podium for English players to stand up and show their credentials. And who knows, in the time to come, we could see a Virat Kohli feature for Manchester Originals, or maybe a Rohit Sharma for Birmingham Phoenix. But that's if the BCCI allow that particular rule to happen. Gentlemen, it's been kind of enthralling, this chat. Not as compelling as many would think, but I would still regard it as our finest podcast. Thanks so much for watching, for all of you all. And apologies to the fans who've been pinging us with a lot of questions. Do like our content and subscribe. Tell your cricketing friends and family as well to hit the bell icon to get all the notifications. Until the next time, it's a goodbye from Somesh, Gurkirat, Anirudh, and me, Abdish Hegde. We'll see you guys soon. It's a goodbye, like I said.